Hello everyone. So today I'm going to talk about my top 5, well there's a little more than 5 on this list, biggest concerns for Monster Hunter Wilds in order from least concerning to most concerning. I feel like all 5 or so of these things are all extremely important for them to get right, even the higher up ones, and most of these concerns are concerns to begin with because they have gotten these things wrong in the recent past, and I don't want them to make the same mistakes. I don't want another flawed game that just fixes the issues in G-Rank expansion. I want the base game to get every single one of these right. But before we get into these, a word from our sponsor. Raycons are your all-in-one earbud. I'm kidding. I don't have a sponsor. I have 500 subs. What do you think this is? Number 6, weapon designs. Anyone who's played World knows the nightmare that is some of those slap-on weapon designs. I want to curl up and die every time I see these lazy-ass weapon designs. It stands out, especially compared to some of the really good weapon designs. It just has no place in this game, and I want it gone. I never want to see a weapon design like this ever again. So that one in particular isn't the end of the world necessarily, but I still think it's very important. But from this point on, everything on this list is more or less of the same importance. Number 5, cutscenes in multiplayer. So I think this one gets overlooked very often, but I think it really is incredibly important for them to get right. So I know a lot of people either started with Rise or are just coming into the franchise with Wild, so you guys might not know this, but Monster Hunter World had unskippable cutscenes, but that's not the worst part. If you were playing in multiplayer with a friend or whatever, you couldn't just join up with your friend and just watch the cutscenes together and then play the game when the cutscene was done. There was typically a cutscene at the start of almost every story quest, and whoever posted the quest would have to go into the quest by themselves, not with co-op, and watch the cutscene in full, again, completely unskippable. And when the cutscene was over, only then could the person you're co-oping with join. And then you can play the quest like normal, which was absolutely infuriating. I don't know what they were thinking making World like that. I can't speak for the previous games because I started with World, so for all I know, they could have all been like that, but I haven't heard that. So I wouldn't know, but someone can tell me that in the comments. But they actually fixed this in Rise. In Rise, you could just join up together, and if you wanted to both watch the cutscene, you could, and if you didn't, just vote to skip. It was that simple. So you're probably thinking, well, why would they go backwards? Why wouldn't they just keep it how it was in Rise, right? Well, Capcom said that there is a greater emphasis on story in Wilds, and it might be a long shot, but because of that, I am a little scared that they'll go back to how it was in World, which, trust me, will ruin everyone's first playthrough in multiplayer. Number 4, difficulty. Now, contrary to number 5, this was mostly an issue in Rise and not World. Rise base game, in my and many others' opinion, was way too easy. Like, Rise base game from start to finish was a breeze, which was surprising because we were coming off of World, which has what's considered the hardest fight in the entire series in Iceborne, that being Fatalis. So in comparison, it made Rise seem really easy. They did have the Apex monsters. Is that what they were called? They might be called something else, but I think they were called Apex monsters, and I don't remember if those were added later or not. I believe some were, but some were in the base game, and those monsters I wouldn't even consider hard. Like, they were hard, but in a really unfair bullshit way. They were essentially just standard monsters, but with overinflated stats. They were not fun to fight, in my opinion, and this goes for a lot of things, but I'm sure someone out there is saying, well, Sunbreak fixed this, or fixed that, or Iceborne fixed this, or fixed that. Those are G-Rank expansions. They come way later in the game's lifetime, so we are not talking about that because the game will not launch with G-Rank, also called Master Rank. This list of concerns is for base Wilds specifically because that is going to be our launch experience. Number 3, performance. Now, I already made a video recently about my concerns with the game's performance, so check that out if you're interested, but I'll try to sum it up here. The beta has come and gone. I didn't actually try it on PC, but I hear it left quite a bit to be desired in terms of performance. Like, it could have been better. At least that's what I heard, and I fully believe that because looking at the spec requirements before the beta release, you can tell that running this game is no joke. In regards to console performance, it ran okay in performance mode on PS5. Wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but man, did it take a massive hit to image quality. That shit was looking crusty on performance mode. My shit was like a glorified PS3 game. It was not pretty, but we do have to keep in mind that this is not the full game. I suspect the full game will be optimized a lot better. At least I hope so. I would hate to see this most likely really good game be ruined by performance, which is kind of what happened with Dragon's Dogma 2. The quality mode on PS5 didn't seem great either, to be honest. It was shooting for a higher resolution at 30 FPS, I'm pretty sure, but maybe it was just me, but the quality mode felt more choppy than 30 FPS. It felt more like 25 to me, but that could just be me. So yeah, in terms of performance so far, not looking the greatest, to be honest. Number 2, skill variety. This is referring to the amount of skills that actually see use in the game. This is kind of a polarizing topic because some people think the skill variety was worse in World and some think it was worse in Rise. I for one think it was a lot worse in World, but I will say it could be improved in both games. I felt like in World, every endgame build was nearly fucking identical.
Leave me alone!
It was literally just like attack 7, weakness exploit, crit eye, crit boost on like every build in the entire game. And this only got worse when Fatalis armor was added. Once Fatalis armor was added, dude, it was a wrap. Like every build was almost exactly the same. But in defense of Fatalis armor, I actually didn't mind Fatalis armor being blatantly the best personally, because it was literally the final fight in World in Iceborne and was excruciatingly hard. So I felt like it was just a worthy reward for such a difficult fight. That's my opinion on that, but yeah, that said, would rather not see this happen again. Before we get to number 1, I have a bonus entry, and this one's a lot more opinionated, so and that is money. I felt like upgrading armor in G rank got way too expensive. Like in Rise, I'd go literally a week without spending any money in the game, and I'd still get run absolutely dry putting one single solitary armor set to max rank from whatever I had it at. And if you were getting a brand new armor set from level 1 to whatever the max was, it was an unbelievable amount of money. And yes, I know you're not necessarily meant to max out armor from level 1 to max instantly over and over again, but honestly, if I'm playing every day doing endgame content for like a week, I should be able to max out whatever the fuck I want. I just don't think money should be that important in Monster Hunter, because the grind is the monster parts, not the money. So who wants to farm money? I mean, let's be real, in Monster Hunter. I'm not saying upgrades should be free, I'm just saying they don't need to be so unbelievably expensive. That's just what I think. Number 1, endgame. This is, in my opinion, the most important thing for them to get right by far in Base Wilds. World was pretty okay in endgame, I'd say, but Rise had little to no endgame at all at launch, and it was extremely shallow, which was really disappointing, and it made me play base Rise a lot less than base World. Also, we can extend this conversation to G rank this time, because endgame and G rank is just as important, if not more. I think World did this pretty well with the guiding lance, but Rise endgame I'm very torn on. It was kind of grindy to the point where it was tedious and not as fun. Yes, Monster Hunter is always going to be grindy, that's how it is, and is what we want, but anomaly investigations were kind of past the point of being a fun grind for me. I felt like you just end up killing the same monsters over and over again to get the most out of your hunts in Anomaly. And if you wanted to hit your max Anomaly rank, you can forget about it, dude. Unbelievable levels of tedium. And I don't think you need it like literally max Anomaly rank to get most things in Sunbreak, but you definitely need it to be pretty high up there to actually max out all the aspects of your weapons and some armor. They showed a little mercy with the armor, I think, but the later weapon upgrades, like not the weapon rarities, I mean the actual upgrades to one specific weapon, there's multiple types. I'm sorry, I'm not remembering the names right now, it's been a while, but you had to seriously get high up in Anomaly to get some of that stuff. So that's it. That is my top 5 concerns for Monster Hunter Wilds. If this was any other franchise, I'd say for sure they'd get at least one of these things wrong, but because it's Monster Hunter and Capcom, I can see them nailing every single one of these by release. Capcom seems to learn from game to game, unlike a lot of developers. I think they really do know what they're doing for the most part, so I'm not terribly worried, but if I wasn't worried at all, this video wouldn't exist. So I am really hoping they get these right. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.